Well, it's still getting messier and messier in the It Ends With Us feud between co-stars Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni.
I said that having read through Blake Lively's complaints, that it was evident to me that she was likely under the influence when she filed her complaint.
Let's set the stage for what might just be one of the most jaw-dropping, popcorn-worthy Hollywood in recent memory. Picture this. It's February 2025, and the air is buzzing with anticipation as Saturday Night Live celebrates its 50th anniversary, a monumental milestone for a show that's been at the heart of comedy. The guest list is packed with A-list legends and industry heavyweights. All took a turn. The spotlight wasn't just on comedy. Oh no, it turned into a battlefield, and at the center of the carnage stood Hollywood's once beloved power couple. Ryan?
You're not kidding when you say this is getting messier. The author of that book deleting her Instagram account, another who plays Baldoni's sister in the film, being harassed online.
A feel-good laugh until you cry kind of special. Think again. This was not a celebration of 5 decades of sketch comedy. Nope, this was a public roast, a takedown, a spectacle that left jaws on the floor and reputations in shambles. Well, they weren't just laughing with the jokes. Many were laughing at the couple who, until recently, seemed untouchable. You could almost smell the shade.
They believe that it's a continuation of the smear campaign that Blake initially claims happened while they were promoting.
Because this wasn't just a random night for Reynolds and Lively there as hosts, nor were they there to promote anything in particular. In fact, this marked their first public appearance together since their very public and very messy legal debacle with Justin Baldoni had turned. You'd think they would have played it safe, maybe nights, far from the glare of cameras. But no, these two decided to strut into SNL studio as if they still had the SNL's studio, as if they still... Spoiler alert, they didn't.
Creepy Baldoni. Getting close to her, obviously making small chatter not in character so as not to make the scene, which didn't require dialogue. Awkward.
Had already dragged their names through the mud. We're talking allegations, countersuits, PR stunts gone wrong, and a 400. Yet, despite the world collectively cringing at their every move, their heads held high, seemingly unaware, or perhaps just unwilling to admit.
Literally, I'm just asking the question, like, how are women allowed to do this, to take something and to make it sound like you survived a... Because that's what it sounded like.
Oh, Colin, the man who quietly sits behind the Weekend Update desk delivering punchlines like precision strikes. But this time, he didn't just deliver a punchline here. He's Scarlett Johansson's husband. Yes, Scarlett, as in Ryan Reynolds' ex-wife. You see where this is going, right? The layers here are as juicy as an overripe peach. If there was ever a person primed to take a shot at Ryan and Blake, it was Colin. And boy, did he deliver. Imagine the scene. The cameras are rolling, the audience is buzzing, and Colin Jost, with that signature smirk of his, casually drops what might go down as one of the most savage lines in SNL history. He compared a disgraced political figure's delusional optimism about salvaging a relationship to, wait for it, Justin Baldoni saying he'd love froze. For a split second, there was silence, a collective intake of breath as the audience processed the sheer or just stare in stunned disbelief.
Who else? Who else has a question?
I have a question.
Oh, hey, Ryan Reynolds.
Hi.
Hey. Ryan Reynolds, how's it going?
Great. Why? What have you heard?
Blake Lively's reaction, priceless. She didn't even try to mask her fury. Sitting there flanked by her husband, she turned to Ryan with a glare so sharp it could have cut through steel. Because here's the kicker. The joke wasn't just about Baldoni. It wasn't even really about Ryan. It was about her. It was about Blake Lively, the woman who'd spent the past year trying to spin herself a toxic Hollywood system. And yet, in that moment, Colin Jost's joke laid bare what everyone in the room, and let's be honest, probably all of Hollywood, was already thinking. The narrative she'd worked so hard.
The materials that they made the cone heads with, are those edible?
Edible? No, and based on them being made in 1975, I'd assume that they're highly toxic.
Oh, okay. So if somebody, hypothetically took a couple of nibbles backstage and, got excited, should they go to the hospital or should they?
Yes, they should go to the hospital right away.
Being Ryan Reynolds tried to play it cool. That trademark as if to say, I'm in on the joke, but here's the thing, body was buying it, not the audience, not Blake. Because the truth is, humor earlier in the night had already set the stage for disaster. When asked by Tina Fey and Amy Poehler how things were going, he quipped, great, why, what are you after? And the palpable wave of secondhand embarrassment that Wahlberg, who was sitting just a few seats away, reportedly shifted uncomfortably in his chair. And Amy Poehler, she gave one of those blink and you'll miss it winces that spoke volumes. Because here's the thing, Ryan's joke wasn't just a joke. It was a reminder of the lawsuit, the allegations, the drama that had turned these two from Hollywood's golden couple to walking punchlines. The fact that he thought he could charm his way out of it, that he could Deadpool his way through a room full of people who were paid to read between the lines, was
He literally tells Ryan he wants to be friends with you. And I can just see Ryan sitting there like, yes, this is exactly what I want, a puppy to kick in the mouth. And you'll do.
This wasn't your average Saturday night crowd. This was an anniversary special, which meant the room was packed with Hollywood insiders. The very people who'd spent the pins implode. These weren't fans looking for a laugh. These were industry veterans who knew exactly what was going on and, more importantly, were ready to judge. So when Colin Jost delivered that joke, it wasn't just a punchline. It was a signal that Hollywood was done pretending, done playing along with the polished facade that Ryan and Blake had spent years carefully crafting. Worse, depending on whose side you're on. Because while Ryan was out there trying and failing to be the charming, self-deprecating, funny guy, SNL had something even more brutal lined up for Blake. Colin's joke wasn't just a jab. It was a calculated strike. The delivery, the timing, the way it zeroed in on her specifically. It wasn't just comedy. It was Hollywood's equivalent of a mic drop. And the audience. They knew it. That split-second hesitation before the laughter. That wasn't confusion. That was everyone in the room processing the sheer brutality of what they'd just witnessed. Even Colin himself couldn't hide the smirk on his face as he delivered the line. He knew exactly what he'd done. And so did the audience.
Has denied all of these allegations. They have responded to this filing, this lawsuit.
Was the moment the smokescreen shattered. For years, Ryan and Blake had managed to sell the world of fantasy. They were the perfect couple, the Instagram darlings, the relatable celebrities who weren't afraid to poke fun at themselves. But on that came out. The cracks in their image weren't just showing, they were gaping. And Hollywood loves a good downfall. So what does this all mean? Was Colin Jost's joke the final nail in the coffin for Ryan and Blake's reputations? Or was it just the beginning of an even bigger unraveling? Let's dive deeper into the aftermath and see how this one night sparked a chain reaction that turned Hollywood's golden couple into its biggest cautionary tale. Because trust us, the story doesn't...
Look, this is just... Hollywood is based on pure fear, cultivated by both of them and their very powerful friends in entertainment.
The fallout, because when Hollywood smells blood in the water, it doesn't just dip its toes in, it dives headfirst. The SNL 50th anniversary was a catalyst that set off a chain reaction, one that would unravel everything they'd spent years carefully building. The aftermath of that fateful night didn't just expose the cracks in their image. It triggered an avalanche money could buy, could stop. Let's start with the industry's reaction, because if there's one thing Hollywood hates, it's being made to look foolish. Ryan and Blake had spent years cultivating a brand that was equal parts charm and relatability. They were the couple you wanted to be friends with, parenting and movie sets. But after that SNL appearance, it became clear that the industry had grown tired of the act. The once beloved stars were now seen as liabilities in Hollywood, ever the fickle beast.